Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got in a weapon light to take a look at. This is a newer release from Brinyte and the model is the XP22 MK3. So this is designed for long guns and you can use it with a Picatinny rail or an M-LOK rail. This is going to have a very low profile design, 2 independent heads, and a built-in laser. So stick around if you want to learn about it. I'll do a real quick unboxing. I'll go over all the features and specifications, go over the user interface, give you guys some beam shots with it, get out to the range, do a little bit of testing, and then give some overall thoughts on it. So before I get into the unboxing, I will let you guys know that I'm very familiar with this model already, as I've had a pre-production sample for probably a year or so, and I can see that there's definitely some changes on the actual production version. But let's get into this. They have really decent packaging, not a ton of information around the box, some QR codes there. But let's see how things are packed and what all we get here. So we're gonna have the light right up on top. Let me get everything out and I'll show it to you guys. All right, so there's everything that we're gonna get in the package. The light, a charging cable, which is type A to their kind of proprietary magnetic head there. You're gonna get some tools, and then like this is a different, basically it's like a rail key. It has a 1913 installed right now, Picatinny, and then some extra screws and stuff in there. User manual, and then a warranty registration card. I will quickly show you guys this manual. You can pause and read anything that you want, but just in case I leave something out in this video, or if you buy this light and lose your manual, you can always come back to this video for reference. So I mentioned that warranty card a second ago. It looks like they have a 2-year, basically unlimited warranty. If you register your product, you get an additional 3 years, so 5 years of total warranty. But it also does have a lifetime warranty, but that does not cover the parts beyond your 5 years. So here is the XP22 MK3. Give you guys some close-ups before we start going over all the details. So this is going to be made out of 6061 aluminum with a type 3 hard anodization. It is IP66 waterproof rated and drop tested at 1 meter. Dimensions, we're looking at about 4.5 inches in length. I guess the total width here is about 3 inches. And let's see about our total height. Maybe somewhere around 1 inch. And there it is on top of a dollar bill for reference. As far as weight, we are looking at 4.8 ounces, and that does have a built-in 1100 milliamp hour lithium battery. All right, let's get into using this and see what the beams are like here. Looks like it's shipped to us on Lockout. It says to hold this for 5 seconds to unlock it. Let's do that. All right, it's flashing, so we should be on now. So this should have a very simple user interface, which is what you want with the weapon light. You're going to have a momentary or constant for both the light or the laser. And so we'll start with the light. If you want the momentary, you just press, and when you're ready for the light to go off, you just release. Press, release. If you want it to be constant on, you just press and release kind of rapidly there. And you can kind of see that there's 2 beams there. It's only because I'm only like a foot away from the table. Once you get to about probably 5 feet, it just looks like one continuous beam. Imagine like your headlights on your car. You don't see 2 distinct lights when you're driving. When both of those LEDs are on, that is 1600 lumens and 35,000 candela, and they claim that will run for 65 straight minutes. I'll show you the strobe next, so if you're sensitive to flashing lights, you can look away for the next minute. You can get to strobe by being off or on, but I'll show you something about that here. So let's say we're off. You double tap this rear switch and that'll bring your strobe on. And again, we started in off. Now when I try to turn it off, it actually turns the light on. But let's say your light is on and you go into strobe. When you're done with it and you hit it, then it shuts the light off. I'm not really a strobe user, so that won't really affect me, but you would think that if you were off and then you were done, it would just go back off, and if you were on, it would then stay on, but it's kind of the opposite. All right, there's one more thing to show you with these lights up here. So let's say that we are on, both lights are on. There's a little switch over here on the side that you can actually hit this and switch to where only one LED is on. You can switch to the other and then switch back to both. Now I have to assume, since the whole thing is 1600 lumens, that when you're on one, it's probably somewhere around 800 lumens. One reason for that is so that you can conserve battery, but the other reason is maybe you're in a situation where you don't need quite as much light. Maybe a light is bouncing off of walls and stuff, and so you have the ability to go half the output basically. The laser on this is very simple. You're going to have momentary or constant, just like on the main light. If you want momentary, press hold. When you're ready for it to shut off, you just release. If you want it to be constantly on, just press once and release quickly. That is a Class IIIA, obviously a green laser. And for those of you wondering if you can have the laser on at the same time as the lights, yes, you absolutely can. Camera will probably have a hard time picking this up. It's for sure on though. It's right there where I'm pointing right now. You can probably see it moving around just a little bit. The sample that I got like a year ago had the same function where you could shut each light off and stuff, but it was really kind of like the switches were right here so close together. This was the main switch, this was the laser switch, and then that was how to go between the different lights. And I'm glad that they switched it up to something like this now where you have large buttons and it's not so confusing. They do make a pressure switch for this XP22 MK3. My kit did not come with it. I don't know if they sell kits that do or if you have to buy this completely separately. I got this in that sample like a year ago, but I wanted to show it to you guys just to show that they do have it. On here, you can have basically the light or strobe. I don't think you can turn the laser on with this, but you can basically just press this like halfway to get momentary, or fully click it on to get constant. And I will show you strobe one more time here, but you just press this for strobe. I've noticed that while I've been demonstrating this, that there's a green light that comes on here. I've looked all through the manual, I looked on the website, and I don't know if that is a battery level indicator or not. The only thing the manual says is that when you're charging, this light will be red when it's charging and it will turn green when it's fully charged. But we're obviously not charging or anything, but that stays on the entire time. So I'm kind of wondering, like, if the battery starts getting low, if this doesn't maybe change to like a yellow or a red or something to kind of indicate that it's time to charge it, but I couldn't find any information anywhere on it. But to charge it, you're just going to take that included cable. Again, it's a magnetic head. It actually sticks really well. It kind of almost like finds the place it's supposed to go to, and then just plug that in any wall source. So as far as mounting, it has that 1913 rail key installed. What was in that baggie is a Glock rail key. And you just pull those little screws out right there to replace the different rail keys. Obviously you can place this anywhere along your rail that you want. The actual mount is spring loaded, so you'll just push that, put wherever you want it, release it, and then tighten this up. I will say that if you use a front sight, or if your rifle has a post sight on it, you may not be able to mount this to the top because that laser is going to be blocked by your sight. So you might have to mount to the sides. All right, let's check out this Brinyte here in the dark. I'm inside the house, and this is just one of the beams right now. And as you can see, I don't have it attached to any type of rifle or anything. Really nice center hotspot. really good flood with it as well though, but this is definitely going to be a thrower. We'll have to see what this looks like outside, but let me turn on both of the LEDs and see if it makes much of a difference here. Oh yeah, that's really intense. Very nice. All right, I'm going to shut that off and then turn the laser on. I know it's kind of hard for the camera to pick up, you know, it sees the dot on the wall obviously over there, but with my eyes, it's like one continuous line all the way to the wall. All right, I'm outside with the Brinyte now. There's a row of trees. It's about 20 to 25 feet away from me right now. Pretty average self-defense range. Let's see what it looks like here with this light. As you can see, that really lights things up well. This thing has a lot of throw. And it's exactly what you want, a high candela light for a weapon light. You know, if there's a threat, you want to be able to see what they're holding in their hand. All right, I've stepped back to about 60 to 70 feet from that same row of trees. They look like here. Very impressive light. All right, I'm going to show you guys one more tree. This one's about 100 yards away. We'll see what the Brinyte looks like on it. Yeah, wow, that's very impressive. Blown away by the performance of this light. All right, guys, out at the range this morning with that Brinyte weapon light. I'm going to get that laser sighted in, make sure that it holds 0. And then also make sure that there aren't any issues with the light flickering or shutting off or anything weird like that. So I didn't have any troubles at all out at the range that day. The laser was fairly easy to sight in and held 0, and the lights never flickered or shut off at all. So what do you guys think about this weapon light? Is this something that you would consider using? Let me know down in the comments. I actually really like it and think that they made some nice changes over the original design. It seems like the build quality on this is very good, and I really like the low profile design of it and just how unique it is. This light has excellent performance. Again, 1600 lumens, which is a ton of output, but even more importantly is the candela, 35,000 candela, which means it's really going to throw that beam out there so you can identify a target. Let's say you have this mounted onto your shotgun or rifle or whatever, you have your laser zeroed in. I like the fact that you can charge this without having to take this back off or anything. That way you don't have to like re-zero that laser, and it's super quick and convenient. I really like how simple the user interface is. Again, that's what you want with the weapon light. You don't want anything that's going to be confusing. You're just basically on and off for each thing. And I also like that you can use a remote pressure switch with it. And another thing is, I like how there's separation between the buttons here. There's a big gap right in here, and the light is actually kind of on like this curved part, and the laser's kind of on the flat part. And with muscle memory, you'll know exactly which one to go to. I know some of you probably won't like the fact that this does have an internal battery. A lot of weapon lights are going that direction, but it's like when this thing gets dead, basically, you have to wait that hour or two for it to recharge. You can't just throw another battery in and keep going. I know some of you may not like the fact that that is a proprietary magnetic charging system here. Some of you would probably prefer if it's just like a USB-C port instead, because if this cable breaks or if you lose it, you're probably going to have to reach out to Brinyte for a replacement and then have some downtime there. So I said at the very beginning of this video that you could mount this onto a Picatinny rail or an M-LOK rail. And I was going off of information that was on their website, and it said that there should have been an M-LOK adapter included. That was inaccurate. You can easily attach it to an M-LOK rail just like I have here, but you do need to buy one of these little adapters. They're very inexpensive, but they do not include that. And speaking of buying, these are available on Amazon. They're also available on Brinyte's website. They're around $110 on each place. They also have a Desert Tan available. Amazon, you cannot get the one with the pressure switch. You can only get it from Brinyte's website, and they're $120 with the pressure switch. And I'll leave links to both places in case you guys want to find out more information on the weapon light, if you want to read some of the reviews, or if you want to pick one up. But alright guys, if you found the video helpful or informative in any way, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.